Hey guys, I got a couple questions for you here really quickly. As you may have noticed, I am heavily involved in miniature wargaming, and if you watched any of my previous videos, maybe some of you subscribed because of my Hex Encounter cardboard wargaming that I've done some playthroughs on, some reviews, etc. And lately, I've been focused a lot on knocking out big chunks of my lead piles, painting them up, getting them based, getting them stored, etc. And I'm just now getting to the point where I'm starting to complete some armies. I have several different projects going on miniature wise, about, I don't know, I'd estimate between 12 and 16 or 17 different projects in terms of miniatures and painting. So I have quite a bit of work to do. Um, I stopped gaming 28 millimeters several years ago, sold off a lot of the stuff, got out of gaming altogether, and have recently, within the last couple of years, gotten back into miniature wargaming. So, um, I'm about at the point where I need to take a little bit of a break here and decided that I'm probably going to be playing a couple more Hex Encounter games here, and I just don't know which ones to do. Well, actually, I do have some interest in a few up here that I really want to knock out, especially these Age of Sail games right there and Steel Wolves Submarine World War II solo game I'm very interested in. But I wanted to ask your guys' opinions. I've done a couple playthroughs on a few of these games up here, and I've gotten some positive feedback from them. Some people had asked me to do more replays on them, and we'll talk about those here pretty soon. But I wanted to give you an idea of what I had experience with, which games I've played before, and I know pretty well, what other games I don't know very well and would be a complete experiment for me to play. I've had a couple of those that I've done already. It's kind of arduous to learn to play a game and record at the same time, but if you guys are very interested in a single specific game, I'd be more than willing to do that. So, that all being said, we'll go ahead and discuss a couple of these games that you see here on these shelves. Um, I would like to comment on one thing. Many of you have subscribed due to my Advanced Squad Leader videos, and I have not lost interest in Advanced Squad Leader. As you can see, you do not see any of those games on this particular shelf. My Advanced Squad Leader is still in storage. I thought I had packed them within easy reach, and lo and behold, they must be buried somewhere because I still haven't gotten to them. So I sold my old house about 5 months ago, and I moved into this new house. And I got one single bookshelf set up. I have another one of these bookshelves in storage that I need to get out, which will sit side by side with this shelf. And I have about just as many games as you see on this shelf. I have in storage as well, including all of my Advanced Squad Leader games. So, in case you're wondering, I have not at all lost interest in Advanced Squad Leader. I just need to get into storage and get them out. And I've been slowly cracking out what I have in storage and getting to it. But I just haven't gotten to it yet. I'm thinking, man, I must have put them down at the very back and bottom of the storage unit, which was completely against all intents and purposes that I had intended on doing. So, yeah, hopefully they are in storage. I don't know where else they would be. So I would put money on that they're somewhere in there. I just got to find them. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some of these games up here. We'll start with this very top shelf here. And well, I got a couple modeling projects right on top there. I got some 15 millimeter Age of Sail ships that I need to put together that I'll be doing there eventually. But I have Cataclysm. It's still in its shrink. I haven't even opened it yet. I've heard great things about that. I got that off the P500 from GMT. Got to me a couple months ago. Haven't touched it at all. I watched Callendale's playthroughs on it, and they were pretty interesting. And like I said, I've heard great things about it. Down below that, you see the gigantic World in Flames Collector's Edition Deluxe, along with Days of Decision 3 on top of that. Those two can be played in tandem and affect one another accordingly. and they are very interesting games. I have played the old editions of World in Flames. I have not played this deluxe edition. There were a couple changes to the rules, overhauls, etc. But I couldn't tell you the exact specifics without looking at my cheat sheet, which does explain the differences. I have it somewhere, not in front of me. But that is a monster war game that would take up my entire living room, probably. As you can see here, there's my gaming room, my front living room right there. It has a table set up already. I'm in the middle of playing campaign. 3D printer right there off to the side. And so, anyway, back to here. That World in Flames would take up a very large chunk of space in that living room. If I was to play it, I'd probably have to bust out 3 tables to fit it all at once. If you've never seen the game, I would recommend checking it out, Googling it, whatever. It can be extreme amount of fun here. So we'll move down to the first shelf. As you can see, I have all 4 Panzer editions, the basic game, expansion number 1, expansion number 2, and expansion number 3. I have the GMT P500 expansion number 4, which is the French front. And that should actually be charging here within the next few weeks. So I should have that 4th expansion within the next 30 days, would be my guess, depending on how quick GMT ships it out. I know they have a couple others games shipping out as well. A couple of those I also have on my list. I have the Fields of Fire. This is the 2nd edition with a little bit more clarity in the rules. I'm not sure how much. I have broken it out, haven't punched it. I've read the rules on it, and yeah, it's about as confusing as everybody says it is. I have watched some playthroughs, which kind of clarifies a lot of it. But it would definitely be an experiment if I was to play that game. No Retreat, the French and Polish fronts. I'm not a big fan of the No Retreat games, actually. I sold off my other 2. This I happen to have on P500 and I forgot to cancel it. So I have this. It's still in shrink. Not really that interested. But we'll see. I'll get to it eventually if I decide to keep it. OCS and SCS games. I got Stalingrad Pocket, Tunisia 2, Reluctant Enemies. I got a couple more Ziploc games of it as well. Sicily 2. I used to have DAC, but I sold it. Played the heck out of it and got offered a very good amount for it, so I sold it off. But the good news is I have the Africa Core on pre-order from MMP, and that is the exact same as DAC, except it's SCS, it's not OCS. So it'll be a more simplified version. Definitely going to do a playthrough on that game once I get it. It'll probably be, my guess would be about a year before that ships out. But I really truly do have a very large spot in my heart for DAC by MMP or slash the gamers. Skies Above the Reich, still in shrink. Heard a lot of good things about it. Currently sold out on GMT as far as I'm aware of. The African campaign, that's by Compass Games. I've played that several times. It's a very simple game, easily to do. Could easily do a video on it. Fleet Commander Nimitz. Um, haven't played it actually. Haven't even punched it, although I've watched Stuka Joe's playthrough on it, watched a couple others. Looks like a pretty cool game, and I have a fetish for the Pacific Theater, which is why I have that game. And I used to have Carrier, but I sold that. I'm thinking about getting. There's somebody on the interwebs does a complete upgraded version of all encounters and the maps, completely modernizes the system. I still have the original rule books, so I'm probably going to be digging online to see if I can track down those package upgrades and play some more Carrier. I haven't played it in years. Played it many, many times before. I'm in love with that game, and I just let it go because it wasn't getting play time, and it just I got sick of the outdated look on it. So moving on to the second shelf. So one of my favorite shelves here has some of my favorite games. Enemy in Sight up there is a very simple card-based game. It's not really historic, not very tactical. It's a quick play game. and it's a card game basically. Steel Wolves is a massive monster solitaire World War II submarine game where you're in charge of the entire German U-boat fleet. Next to that is the Sovereign of the Seas, which is a strategic naval warfare in the Age of Sail. Very intrigued by that one. 1805 Sea of Glory, not a very solitaire friendly game. I have somebody who is interested in playing that with me. Time will tell if he flakes out or follows through with that interest. Serpents of the Seas is a flying colors game. And I really love the Flying Colors game. I do have the original as well as White Cross, White Ensign, which I believe is the Russian expansion, Swedish expansion, something like that. And I also have the Spanish on pre-order, which is Under the Southern Cross on pre-order from GMT. So Wingleaders, both the Wingleaders, I did an intro video to those. I've played those games many, many times before. They are intriguing. I'd be interested in doing a video on those. Coral Sea is by Avalanche Press, and it's World War II at Sea series. I've done that game a couple times before. It's a little confusing to learn, but I got it down pretty good now. Nation in Arms. I am very intrigued by that game. I've done the initial introductory scenarios. It's similar to what you would consider a world in flames of the Napoleonic era, with production, resources, wagon trains, all that good stuff, except it's in the Napoleonic age. And I am fascinated by that. It has beautiful, beautiful counters, but we can go ahead and take a look at the Napoleonic 20 series. I have two of these. I have the 100 Days 20 and Hanau 20. And the Hanau 20 is actually the leader expansion for the Napoleonic 20 series, which adds in many more leaders and marshals into the 20 series. Very quick play game, abstract to a point, but still provides a lot of insights. And, there's arguments about whether it's historically accurate or not. I don't care. I have enough historical accurate games, and wargaming isn't always about achieving the same results which happen in history. It's more about having fun and seeing what could have happened. Wild Blue Yonder. I have the Down in Flame series, which I've played many, many times. So I'm sure I could pick that up very easy. That would probably require an opponent, although I could probably do it solo. Might be a little boring though, solo. Space Empires, I haven't touched them yet. Interested on them. I got the second expansion or the first expansion on pre-order. What was that? I can't remember what the name of the second expansion is. But from what I understand, it's the better of the two expansions. And then we have the Command and Colors Napoleonics, which many people have done playthroughs on. I have P500 shipping any day now. The Prussian expansion, the Spanish expansion, the Russian expansion, and the Austrian expansion. So I'll still need to get Epic as well as the Marshals and Generals expansion to there. Command and Colors, you can see there I have the base game, expansion number 1, which is the Greek empires, and expansion 2 and 3 in the same box. And I've done a playthrough on those before. You can check that out in my previous videos. I played those many, many times before against my son and other people. Silver Bayonet is a Vietnam game. It's an operational game, and I have a tremendous amount of fun playing that. I've played it many times, solo and against other people. It works very well solo, although it does have a hidden movement, and there's ways that you can get around that without cheating for other sides. Table Battles is a very, very simple game. Extremely simple. I could very easily demonstrate that. Operation Shoestring, honestly, I have no interest in playing that. It's more of a collector's item at this point in time. It's for the Guadalcanal campaign. Many people had complaints about the orders of battle being incorrect, etc. I think the gameplay, the rules, etc., have a lot of potential in it, but it's just too outdated for me. The looks of the counters, the look of the map, so kind of killed the interest in it. It's just been sitting on my shelf way too long without being touched, and now it's out of date, basically. Bottom shelf, you can see Combat Commander Mediterranean. A lot of my other Combat Commander stuff is in storage with my ASL items and boxes. So eventually I'll break that out, but I do have the entire Combat Commander set, including all expansions and Ziplocs. Next to that is Unconditional Surrender. I've played a couple scenarios in that, nothing too in depth, but I think I get that down pretty quickly. And then you can see here I have the Great Battles of History system, Devil's Horseman, War Galley, Caesar and Alexandria and Hoplite, Alexander and Chariots of Fire. I did have Samurai at one point. I sold it because I just lost interest in Japanese warfare, really. I've been intrigued by it so many years, studied it for so many years, and just lost interest in it, and I sold it. So nothing wrong with the game. It was a good game. Hindsight, I probably should have kept onto it, just held onto it just to complete my Great Battles of History system. But I was missing a few others anyway. I'm still missing Caesar and Gaul. That's the main one that I can think of. Can't think of the others that I'm missing here right off the bat, but I'm very familiar with all of those games. I also have the simple Great Battles of History system, the second edition. So if you're interested in seeing any of those, I can do them. Or I could go ahead and use the simple battle system if you're interested in seeing that as well. It works for most of those games down there. Goalie for Guilford, Saratoga, and Brandywine is part of the GMT American Revolution series. That's the tri-pack that came out about a year and a half ago, something like that. I had it on P500. I've played Guilford Courthouse scenario twice, and that's it. So I'm pretty familiar with the system. It was easy to catch up on. I could probably get a quick refresher and realize what I'm doing pretty quickly. So if you're interested in that, I'd be down to do that. Pax Romana, one of my favorite ancient games. I've done a playthrough on that. I did have some feedback, some positive feedback about people interested in seeing that more. So that is on the plate for me to do. I'll probably do a large scenario, maybe the grand campaign scenario with everybody involved, all the factions, the entire map in play. And it probably take me a while to get through that. So the Republic of Rome, fantastic game. I've played it a couple times with some groups of friends here. I know it's been done on video solo. I don't know anybody that's done it as a group live play or anything like that. But it's a fantastic game, cooperative and against each other, depending on what era you're playing in. There's, I believe, 3 different eras, if I remember correctly. Speaking of my ancient games, I also have the what are the Rise of the Roman Republic as well as Carthage, which are 2 of my favorite games. Very confusing to get the hang of. Rules are not all that great, but those are in storage as well. I need to break those out here. So anyway, if anybody really wants to see any of these games played on video, feel free to comment or whatever the case may be. And yeah, I will maybe take a crack at it here. Like I said, I already got Pax Romana on the list of things to do here. But if anybody else has any ideas of games that they want to see, um, let me know. I could do either of these 2 as well here, Steel Wolves or Sovereign of the Seas, Nation in Arms. Those are the ones I'm really itching to play. But if anybody had any interest in, let's say, the OCS series, SCS series, the Panzer series, or World in Flames, oh my God, World in Flames! If you guys make me play that, my head's gonna pop. But I probably don't have that on a list of things to do for at least another year unless I had a tremendous amount of feedback. I also have Gloomhaven, which my son and I have been playing through with a couple friends. I got 2 friends and my son. We've been playing a 4-player campaign. I think we're about 8 or 9 missions into it. We play about once a month, so it's going along slowly, but we're getting through it. I'm playing the Spellweaver, the Sorcerer. We also have the Tinker going on, which is one of my friends. The Rock Guy, whatever he is, the Rock Guy Golem. That's one of my friends, and my son is playing the thief, the scoundrel, whatever he is. So anyway, that's it. Leave some feedback. Let me know what you want to see, and I'd be more than happy to make it happen with enough feedback on any particular game. So anyway, thanks for checking it out, guys. Until next time, stay safe and see you later.